Yeah, maybe keep it there. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Professional Hippies Podcast. We got a special guest returning back today. Tampa real estate mogul, of course, Brian Albores. Welcome back, buddy.
Welcome back, my friend.
Pink suit and all.
not the whole suit, but just enough.
We were talking about the mustache earlier. It looks like what I was saying, the Addams Family dad. That's where I think this is what the look portrayed. It looks good.
Thank you. I just wanted to try something different. I had been rocking the beard, and it definitely started as one of those things where I was like, how ridiculous can I be?
Mm-hmm.
And there were definitely a few along the way, obviously, because I let my beard grow before I did it. Along the way, I tried a few different styles, and obviously you got to try the Wolverine and like the top.
Yeah,
pretty much everything in there, Ricky Bobby, whatever, you name it. And you invited your last, but I had to get to a point where there was something that I could still maybe sell you a house.
Right.
And then all my other ventures as well. So I did land on a Caterpillar. And also, to be fair, I hadn't normally, I try to be diligent about getting my hair done and stuff like that. You gotta be presentable. But I don't cheat on my barber, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I will not cheat on my barber. That's gonna have principles,
I'm telling you, it took almost a whole year being in Denver before I told the guy too. I was like, in Austin, I drove 35 minutes one direction to the same barber, because once you find that guy, you're like, cool. I want to be able to sit down and just say hey, man, whatever you think's good, or just do the thing you did last time. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
Hey.
Even before I had this luscious hair flow, I had such a vanilla type of haircut. I could go to anyone. I'd just be like, cut it here so I can comb it over. I don't care.
I'd like to see Dylan's haircut in his license. I don't know.
I feel like too with when you got the mustache, right? And then you had to go present at house. Did you go present? Was your first house after the mustache was someone that you knew, or was this a first timer that you?
Oh yeah, so it was actually, dude. So this is crazy. The last house that I moved out of, I sold it to this guy, right? And he liked me so much that he actually hired me to resell it because
Mm-hmm.
So that was the first person I had to see. I hadn't seen me in a while, but we had a good relationship, and and keep in mind too that it wasn't this this because I did it myself. So what had happened was I went to I went and grabbed my trimmer, which is I don't know, will Philip pay me? So I'm like a Philip, we're all for one blade. And I'm like, I was like, this is the perfect blade. It sells on Amazon like crazy. It's
Sure.
awesome, but it's got a weird charger for it.
Okay.
Can't find the charger to save my life. So I'm like, sick of this beard, and it's all bushy and stuff. So I'm just gonna start saving it, and that's why I started trying different haircuts.
Yeah.
So at one point, this was quite hefty. I mean, I probably should have a picture. So very, very Burt Reynolds, I will say, because as you know, that's my thing. I think I told you about the thing where I was in Vegas, and I was like, I tried to do the Burt Reynolds pose, and
Yeah.
if I didn't, I'll have to show you this, but I can't show it to you on the camera. And but yeah, I have a thick caterpillar growing across my top lip. And but my barber finally got back from Hawaii. His son's playing basketball and college over there. He was gone forever, which makes me super happy for him. But my hair was looking crazy. So, and then he trimmed the mustache, and I ended up looking like Gomez. Isn't that his name? Now that you said that,
Yeah.
That's definitely. I can see where you're coming from.
Everyone says I should do a goatee one day. Do a goatee.
Just see how. Try it. You know what I mean? Just give it a try, and even if you don't like it, then shave it and try something else. Maybe just try it.
What happened to mustaches? We used to have mustaches. That used to be the thing. Men, you had a mustache, you had your hat, and you went out in the world with your suit on. And then all of a sudden, mustaches just kind of went away for the most part.
Well, one thing I can tell you about the mustache, not to get too into it, but I feel
Right.
like, as the kids call it these days, it like gives you aura. I swear, man, like there was other times where I may have been more self-conscious about things, but it's like, how much more ridiculous can I look? It's like, it's sort of like negates all the other shit. And it's like, well, it doesn't matter how stupid I act right now because I can't look any stupider than this mustache. And it just kind of gives you that like blind confidence to conquer the fucking world.
I don't think I've ever heard someone describe the power of their mustache and that perspective. It's like, what do you mean? Now I have a calling card to just say whatever the fuck I want.
I mean, it's sort of like a cheat code, honestly, man. It's kind of like money, right? Like, you got money, you can be ugly. That's pretty much like the only. But it's like, if you have a mustache, you can say and do anything.
The
you can be law enforcement.
The breweries call you up to name their beers.
Exactly. And not to hype it up, but it's like once it thickens up, it is like I now get why they call it a flavor saver, bro. If it's like something that's tasty, like you're gonna.
Oh yeah, whatever if you got a mustache or a beard, it's for sure gonna catch whatever you're drinking or eating, for sure.
Oh yeah.
It gets up in there. Isn't in real estate too? A lot of people, they do things to try to stand out anyways. I mean, you wanted to do this not for real estate purpose. You wanted to do this for yourself, but excuse me, isn't that a thing that people try to do because you just got to stand out somehow for the most part?
Oh yeah. Well, I think standing out, I mean, when it comes to standing out, man, it's probably like there's not much more I can do besides already looking like Shrek, right? So there's not too many realtors out there that are just stupid big for no reason.
It's hard not to recognize
yeah. Yeah, so actually, like I go to all these events and all this stuff because I'm a socialite too at the core.
Yeah.
And more and more people have started to recognize me, and trust me, like I wish it was because I am the best at doing this, which I do. I like to believe that I'm good at it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really one, like because they see me, two because they can't miss me, and three because I usually I'm in their face. And there's one thing that a good friend told me, and he was like, "Oh, it takes effort, right?" And I didn't really quite get what he meant by that until I kept sort of progressing in business and started to realize how many times have you gone out to a place, met somebody, or had a conversation with somebody that even whether or not you might connect on a business level, whether or not you guys might be able to work together, you may have you've got each other's information, you whatever, might have even fucking come up with a plan to take over the world, Pinky, but then you're neither person follows up.
Yeah.
So then nothing happens, right? And there's a lot of times where it's like, well, what if you have followed up? What if you have done something about it, right? So
Sure.
it's like one of those things where it's it takes effort because it's not, if one person doesn't put forth the effort, and a lot of times it's like, hey, why are we not even putting forth the effort? Oh, it's about fear of rejection, or oh, okay, well, they weren't serious about it, or whatever the case may be. But if you just kind of them, you're like, I'm just gonna put in the effort because one of us has to, and see what happens.
Sure.
And just taking that and shifting your mentality from I think a lot of us just, especially now, with everything that just kind of gets bombarded to us, we're in this what not or what if not, but well, what if things do work out? And what if things do happen?
Yeah. And they've been working out for you pretty good. I mean, you've been you say, when you walk into a room, I mean, you're a pretty big dude, right? Everyone's going to notice you, but now you got to do the follow-up. You got to go talk. You have to socialite. You have to make the professionalism happen on top of that, right? And you've done pretty good at that. I mean, you're also I think you're starting you do real estate, but you're also starting what, Slush House? What is that?
Correct. So Smoke House is like I'd say it's like a luxury catering experience for parties, events, and things of that nature for like high performing individuals. We provide you with a bartender, or we provide you with this little like slushy, alcoholic slushy machines,
Yeah.
and you're able to use those to, it's kind of like, I feel like everybody likes those, especially around here in Florida with the like this type of weather that we have, etc. But it's more of like an experience, right? So if you have a brand, a company, or whatever, the way that we build like even marketing materials or part and everything is that we can cater it and then like tone it all up to you. So, our card's gonna have your branding on it. Our everything's gonna feel seamless. If it's a wedding, it's gonna be more about you. It's not about, like the company that I made, but it's more so like, oh wow, like, Dylan has this for his event, etc. So
Yeah.
it's
All these young, rich
and obviously,
socialites moving here, they want stuff like that for their house parties. They don't
absolutely,
want to. They don't want to set
and
set it all up. It's kind of like the weed companies out in Denver that do they a weed bar at parties. I feel like that's kind of the same idea, but for Florida, that makes sense. A slushy at a pool party would be awesome.
absolutely, and
And you build that
I
brand
mean,
around.
you saw it. We did it over here, and we've had yeah, we actually. We probably wouldn't have started this if it wasn't for like the connections that we had in sort of like that space,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why we kind of, especially with like the people in the team who have like come from like major companies. So I don't know. It's so funny actually. With all this stuff that's happening with AI, a lot of these like major companies that I probably can't say any names, stuff like that, but some of your major companies are taking a lot of their marketing teams that might have been like comprised of like multiple people throughout America, and they're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, you got to move to the headquarters, otherwise you can get a severance. And they're doing that because they're trying to replace all these with people with like AI. And this is your ad, right? This is your grocery store that everybody and their mom, there's one in every city in America, etc. The biggest ones. So I took some of those people that I just happen to know, and then some of the people that are already making things happen locally for some of these like bars and cities. And we put them together and realized that one, we already kind of had the group of people to sort of work with, and just kind of putting all our minds together. That's kind of how we came up with the whole Lush House thing, and yeah, we
It sounds like it's cool, like
literally
networking group. It's also like a good young professionals come together. They come on the weekends. It's it's almost kind of like, I don't know if you ever met Andrew Machada. He created like a young professionals networking group for a while. He ended up selling it off to Tampa Bay Young Professionals. I don't know. I really like that group. I don't know why he did, but he ended up
gotcha.
selling it off. And but it was something that a lot of young professionals, you had to be interviewed to get into it,
Totally
and
forgot
so
about
people could
that.
feel
That's a throwback.
yeah, people felt comfortable when they were a part of it. And then he ended up selling it off to young Tampa Bay Young Professionals. But I always thought that was a really cool group because everyone felt comfortable and understanding like this is what this group was about, is really just meeting people. And he tried to weed out people that were there, like guys trying to get in just to come and meet women. Um, and so he would have to interview you to go through that process and be like, hey, this is just about socializing, getting to know people, getting to network while also having a good time to get to know the Tampa Bay area. And so I feel like that's a great type of way to do it because you could do with Slush House. I feel like there's plenty of areas that you could have an event. Like, it doesn't even have to be a pool party. I feel like you could do. We have a slush house event. My apologies, slush house event at this club this weekend. Or hey, we have a slush house event at a Tampa Bay Lightning tailgating party. Come check it out. I feel like it could grow
Absolutely.
to a marketing, young professional networking brand.
Gotcha. And so, and just to kind of like expand on that, we're we are actually kind of like already working in that space. And what it is within our circle, there was already plenty of I guess, the type of people that you would consider the consumers for this. They were, they like to entertain on the weekends and, have caterers and things like that. So, weddings and, but even further, we partner up actually with this company called Loki. Yeah, Loki. Loki. And they make cannabis
that sounds
drinks.
familiar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they make cannabis drinks. They have like a few different ones.
Yeah.
So they're like all over the place. So they hooked us up and we co-promoted certain things. And the reason being is because obviously, there's a lot of people switching more over to drinking just the cannabis drinks versus the doing the alcohol overall, beer, etc. And even you and I that are close friends, some of our personal friends have like quit drinking overall and just don't have this cannabis drinks, etc. So
you make
we have
slushy cannabis drinks? That'd be cool.
Correct. Yeah. We can. And that's what I mean. It's a fully catered experience, just kind of depending on what serves you best or what works for you. So I definitely think it's we can even make them for kids, man. Like so because it comes with toppings, etc. So they're obviously non-alcoholic, but for like a little sweet 16, and again, you also have to remember that the type of circle that we're catering to, we call it like a luxury experience on ice.
Sure.
And
luxury experience on ice.
Honestly,
I love that.
Yeah, it makes me think of like Frozen or something like that, but hopefully it makes sense. So I'm not the marketing guy; I'm just the business guy, and
no, it makes sense to me. Luxury service on ice, right? So slush house, slushy, building it around that.
Correct. So it's not even just slushies. We can have you on coconuts. I can label coconuts with whatever you want on it. And
then y'all make it to the cruise ships. You're like, we made it.
Oh, that. Now then you'd probably make it. But it's a fun, man. I try to do whatever I can to, as long as it's something that I feel like it's helping people. This is one of those things that it's like a passion thing.
You've always tried to be, step outside the comfort zone, try new things, see what works for you, see what partner with others, see what works for them. But you're also trying to, find a brand that you can build. I feel like you built a brand around yourself for the real estate market. You have a pretty niche market that you work with of people that want quality homes, right? Like I'm not here to just buy and flip. I feel like when I've worked with you, it was always about quality and making sure we could find something that worked well.
Absolutely. And I think when it comes to that, man, it's about finding I probably treat every deal sort of like deals that I would do for myself. And as I progress, I've moved on to a point where I don't. I can explain it. I'm able to kind of like help everybody a little better and really treat them more like they're my deals because now I'm more focused on making my money from the commercial real estate aspect of it. So, but again, real estate overall can be super up and down. So
it's been crazy lately, things. Up and down. I wish Kyle would just release some rates so we can open up the gates of loan sharking again. Let's do it. Everyone, get a loan. Let's get some triple B's going.
What's good for one is good for all.
That's right. If they could do it back in 2008, we can do it here. All right.
So, Brian, you've been focused more on commercial lately?
Yeah, I have. Is there a way? I know we're doing the podcast thing, but can I?
We can pause it. Dash, so anything's crazy going forward, like you said.
Yeah, remember the power of being able to say whatever you want.
Welcome to the power.
Nothing is crazy going forward. There is
Welcome back.
no limit to what you can do.
So what's the story of the Shoe Man?
So there's this show on the, not a show, but a website on the dark web, right?
I've seen this. Yes.
Yeah. And you go on there, and there's like different pairs of shoes, different sizes, and every pair of shoes has a person's name and an age attached to it. Like, makes no sense whatsoever. There's this one guy that, granted, he's like a WWE guy, but he's also like more a dark web guy, and he just kind of having to do them. Been confirmed it's not a WWE thing or anything like that, but he was like, man, I gotta dig into this human thing because he does, and he'll go, he basically like talked to an AI model for a while called the Beast, and he was like building a body, and he built him a little RC car, and then he was like, no, I want to be more, he hooked him up to like a Starlink, and this like AI had a little body and was able to move. So, long story short, people were like, you need to look into the shoe man thing. So he orders a pair of shoes just for like shits and giggles. He gets them, and he gets a pair of cowboy boots with somebody's name on it. So he starts looking at his boots, and he puts luminol on them, to see like, they have like this weird substance all over them.
Mm.
So VHS tape on them, which is available. You can watch this tape on YouTube, and it should be like the Shoe Man VHS. And at this point, there's like two of them, and the shoes were like wet. But there were boots, so he wore them one day. That's what it is, and he wore them to work, and he has to go through a metal detector, and they kept going on. So he realized that there was a tracker inside the sole of one of them. So it was like a homemade tracker, and it had an SD card. So he was able to put the SD card into like a burner phone and figure out like the IP address attached to it. And he started texting basically the number that was trying to track boot. The person that he was texting was like, hey, don't trust the Shoe Man, who's apparently the person that sent you these boots. And it's like, don't trust the Shoe Man. However, throughout this whole process, the same boots that the guy had ordered that he wore to work had now reappeared on the website with his name and his age on. And he was like, well, this is getting like weirder and weirder. So then basically he texts that number, and he's like texting the guy, and the guy's like, hey, don't trust this Shoe Man, the guy that he found from the IP address on the SD card. And then no response, nothing. Then he gets another package to the P.O. box that he ordered the boots to originally, and it's a different pair of boots. So this pair of boots are even like more wet, and they have another tape on them, and they have a phone on them. So he like starts up the phone, and it was the phone that he was texting, that was texting him. So when he found the SD card and started texting a phone, it had the conversation. So it was that phone that he had been texted from. And then he was like, oh, well, this is getting weird. So then it took a while, because then at this point, too many people called the FBI, and the FBI got involved into all of this. So then the information that started getting released got more limited. However, the guy that all of this is happening to got a little scared, because he got a third pair of shoes sent to his house. He was using a P.O. box before this, and the third pair of shoes came to his house. And they were more wet, and they had like maggots all over.
So he was using a P.O. box before, but because they used that chip to figure out where he was, they used his address, I guess, this time.
Somehow, one way or another, they found his address. But he's like a fairly smart, like techie guy, and he was thinking that he was doing everything like covering his tracks. And then the next thing that happened was that he got another pair of shoes sent over to his house. And then I guess like the lore goes is that with the Shoe Man website, I think it's like maybe people that don't want to live anymore, or you want to like have somebody like taken out.
They definitely are like people that died in those shoes for sure.
Oh, definitely. So that's the point, right? Because when you go to order the next pair of shoes, it actually says that you're renting them, and they ask you how long do you want to rent them for. So you go for like a day, 6 days, 6 months, a year. Yeah, and then it seems like it's like a bidding site, right? So either you're gonna commit harm to somebody with those shoes, or you're gonna be harmed wearing those shoes. Somebody's getting.
That does sound like some dark web weird shit. You're right. You did say it at the very top, and we did ask, tell us.
How many, dude?
Yeah.
And how many other things don't even get out there? This guy just happens to have a following, so he's like, fuck it, I'll try it. And he's able to post.
Did you guys
about
mess around with the dark web though? Like the Silk Road when that was a thing?
No, not that.
A little bit before
Only,
me.
maybe years ago, the onion router and all that shit. But
Yeah.
no, there was a lot of weird shit in that dark wiki or whatever, the Wikipedia page. I definitely saw a bunch of stuff on it. Just for like, you just want to like look in that shit, but then you're like, oh.
It's very much a real thing that you can't unsee things too. Like in college, me and my buddies would go to what was it?
This is the best year.
Oh, there it is.
Best
Ah.
I remember that.
It's
That's
just
cool.
like, and that was what
Like
better
the
part of
2000s, bro.
Yeah, I mean that was like that's before everyone had a camera in their hand. Like that was, dedicated camera typically.
Not everybody, clearly.
Well, you know what I mean though? It's like CCTV footage or like a,
You remember
like
when that movie Hostel came out and they were like, oh, some of those images are real. And you were like, fuck, I don't know. So I believe them. Now I kind of do. Especially looking at, like, not to get too into fucking weird shit, but did you see like how those kids broke into fucking where that owl is, where they sacrifice all the children, where all the Hollywood people do all the crazy shit?
Oh,
yeah.
And it's a real thing, and you're like, oh, I guess it's not so crazy. That shit's right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
The files of Epstein not being released, I think, are the strongest case for super weird shit going down on a villain's island. I think that would be kind of up there with proof that weird shit goes on.
Oh, because the files weren't released. Yeah.
No, I mean, well, it's like we don't. Okay, not even having the names, but the guy that had a crazy amount of wealth that we don't really know how he got it, had a villain layer on an island, goes to prison, kills himself, right? Like there's enough there without the files to go. There's a lot of weird shit happening.
The weirdest part is a bunch of boomers trying to hide it, and they don't know how to use the technology to hide it, so they keep screwing up all the stuff in the editing.
Oh, like the minute missing.
The minute missing, they're like, oh yeah,
Right.
no one will notice this. Send it out. Everyone's just like, did you try?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
They know that nobody in their right mind would actually like cover stuff like that. At least like nobody of age or nobody with something to lose. That's what it is. So if you go after the people, like, pretty much the only people left are the people with everything to lose, and they're the ones trying to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
And when everyone, all these older people pass, I'm always curious what it's going to be like after all these older people pass or lose power, because there's just so many older people holding power right now that don't want to retire for some reason.
What was the dude that, I don't remember if he was like a senator or congressman or whatever. He ended up stepping down. He resigned over lying about something or embezzlement or however that works, right? But he was caught in like drag, or like a bunch of pictures surfaced of him in drag. Do you remember who I'm talking about? This is kind of recent.
Several of them.
I want to see, I know, right? It was like Carolinas or Tennessee, something like that. He was a representative, and so anyway, he gets ousted. The whole pack goes against him, and he's like, "All right, well, I get it. Yeah, I'm the only one that was doing weird stuff or taking money under the table, kind of thing." Sure. So they do interviews with him, and he's like talking about at the house how they have the basement full of files where they just store kind of sensitive information, nothing crazy. But he's like, dude, they do orgies down there. And the person interviews like, what? And he's like, it's the only place in the house where there aren't cameras. And anytime he was like, why don't we just put cameras down there? That's weird. Why are people going down there to hook up? And he's like, so we can't put the cameras in there because people are going down there so there's like all these weird things. Like once he had to step down, he was like coming out with, and he's like, no, this is like just part of what they do. Like he's like, I have no incentive for ousting anybody. He's like, I'm not going to name drop because I'm not trying to get killed, but he's like, this is a real thing, happens all the time.
Or that mountain that they store all the files in. Have you ever seen that? Hard copies of files, and they don't let anyone in there, and they still use a ancient sorting system down there that only a few people know about.
Oh, are you talking about just for our Social Security benefits?
It's something like they have hard files of everything from over many, many years. They just keep down there and no one can access it.
Yeah, that was part of the Doge thing where Elon was like,
yes,
that feels like an incredibly inefficient way for us to figure out if someone's living, that they have to go pull a paper file in the basement of a mountain to figure out if they're still alive or not.
Yeah. So they're just like, they just keep it there. And they're like, oh yeah, that seems like a good system. So everyone can fraud the system. Great.
Like a lot of our nuclear launch shit still runs off of floppy disk because you can't hack it.
Yeah.
So they're like, I mean, it works, you know?
Well, you know what the cloud is, right?
Iron Mountain is what it's called.
I had somebody that was a lot more intelligent than me when it comes to like all the techie stuff. So it kind of try to explain to me what the cloud is. It's like, yeah, man, it's like, you remember like those old timey, like the big things that kept running around, and it was like the computer. He's like, it's basically like a bunch of VHS tapes, because somehow they found a way to put a shit ton of information in onto tiny format. But at its core, the cloud is like VHS tapes running out there somewhere.
Yeah, it's just a storage system out there that they have.
Essentially.
I mean, massive facilities out in the middle of nowhere that all these huge data centers. Facebook has, Meta has them, Salesforce has them.
They're hard to miss. You can't miss them. They don't have windows. They have like little to no windows.
And they build too. So
downtown.
If you ever see too as well, they'll go buy a shit ton of land, right? And the neighbors don't know who's buying the land. It'll just be some corporation that buys it. And then all of a sudden they'll build these massive data centers, and it's just absolutely, and it's in the middle of farmland, and it's wrecking all the farmland around them. And they're so loud too. And they're wrecking the water systems around them. And they just, and then they just plop down, and then all the neighbors complain. And because they have no windows and there's no one really to contact, they don't know how to like resolve the problem. Baby. They're just servers, and there's just an IT guy that shows up every now and then to do their job.
It smells like progress.
And they do them out in the middle of nowhere because they're so loud, and they fuck up. Like they need so much water to cool, and when that water cools and then it gets pumped back out, it's horrible.
Yeah, but don't stand in the way of my Amazon Prime and Netflix.
I'll get away with my Prime though. I need that shit delivered by tomorrow.
Brian, I was curious. So you're doing more commercial these days?
Yeah, man. It's been I guess everybody sort of, when you start doing real estate, you can yourself, maybe even doing whether honestly, there's pretty much like two ways. You're like, oh, I'm gonna do luxury, or I own a bunch of properties and rent them out, or commercial. Most everybody wants to do commercial, but it's just a very tough market to break into. It's definitely like a good old boy market.
Yeah.
And not just that, but it's like if they don't know who you are, they don't answer your phone call. It takes, I will say that it takes a village, especially for like the bigger deals, but it's also why they pay the big bucks. You're not talking about like one of my deals. If I was to like count volume, it's what a book is. Maybe a year. I'm talking about maybe one of the top. However, it takes a while for you to come to fruition or to actually get to the point that period. you have to deal with all types of personalities, all types of people, man. There's one where I'm actually dealing with like companies that most people probably, I'd rather not even say it, right? But they're like, oh, this company's coming into my town and taking over, doing this and doing that. And it's like, well, you know what? It's they're buying stuff that nobody else is buying for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they're like grabbing the deals from other people, and at
Blackstone,
least,
NYE.
yeah, it runs with like ACK and UCK, and but it's
Red Rock.
definitely one of those things where you're like, I guess you got to look at all the sides of the coin,
Yeah.
and they're still picking up stuff where, no matter where at least like the seller can make some sort of profit.
But why are they buying out just so much? Like you said, it's a lot of land that like people aren't really using or need or want to. They're also buying land that's useful, but like why are they just buying up so much?
There's a lot of business, because they have the equity available. So what it is, I think they sort of found a loophole where they can continue to keep buying properties and buying things, and then expensing those things for using tax liabilities, tax abatements, and just capitalizing off of those and moving on to the next thing. But it's one of those things that where you're like too big to fail, kind of like how United and Delta.
But if they're doing that though, wouldn't they harm the environments around them to where their investments don't work now? Like it won't do anything for them. So they in essence destroy
I
themselves.
think that's what we're seeing.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what we're seeing, my man. And the thing is, and I've started to say this more and more and more, we are heading into an economy in which nobody's going to be able to own. It's not the first country that it's happened to. It's actually like this. In most countries, most people cannot afford to own their home, and I think this is what's positioning us in that way. If we look at like our economy and everything, not to get too into it, but if we look at everything overall, we're not the first big empire. We're just kind of like, this is our turn. And what's happening is, the first thing that's happening is that the middle class is gone completely. We know that there's no middle class anymore. You're either like barely making it, or you're like slushy. But even those people, even the people that are slushy are like, oh shit, what's gonna happen next? So the next step is going to be that nobody's going to be able to own anything. It's we just live in it, and where we're heading. That's what happened in other, if you want to see kind of like the most relatable country, so when it comes to something like this, it's probably like Latin America. Everybody's going to be rented. You want everybody to depend on you, right? So
here's the thing with that. Here's the thing I was thinking about with that though, right? Because you're like, well, they want people to go, not to own their homes, right? And I was actually talking to my brother about this yesterday. You won't own anything and you'll be happy or whatever, right? And I feel like they've kind of carried a lot of people into the mindset of, why learn how to redo your floors? Why learn how to put drywall up? Why learn how to change out your own light bulb? Just pay someone else to do it. Oh, and then that adds on the mentality of, here's how much more it's going to cost to own your home, right? So now they have everyone thinking just rent and then have your landlord take care of it, which, BlackRock, I guess, or anybody else. And so now they do that. So they have the mentality of, okay, it's going to be way more cost than it is to just afford the mortgage. So just pay us and we'll take care of it for you. Whereas people have just like actually learned a little bit how to swing a hammer, how to put up their own drywall, how to do pretty basic house maintenance stuff. Yeah, it's going to cost more, but it's not going to cost as much as other that. But you also have to take on the responsibility of now managing your own property. And I feel like too, as well, that's where they've got a lot of people in the hook since the 2008 crisis, right? Like, so now people think, well, I've been paying the same rent all these years, shouldn't I be able to afford a home? Well, yeah, I mean, that should go into it. That should definitely be a meaning to it. But you're also going to have to add in several $100s a month to pay your electric, take care of your home. Oh, you want to mow your lawn, keep things up in place too, as well. And I just think a lot of it too is people are not wanting to take on the responsibility of all these other things, but at the same time, they're complaining about rent going up every month. It's like, hey, you don't want to pay rent in a month? Go try to own a home then. Watch what goes up every month after that.
Absolutely. So you're absolutely correct when it comes to that. And to add to that, a big issue is oftentimes what people can afford to rent may look or be more appealing than what they can afford to buy. So if you think about it, right, like if you're paying $2,500 a month, if you get a $2,500 a month condo, you might be able to get you like a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, something like that. But if you go buy a house for $2,500 a month, at least here in Florida, where that might be something closer to like a 2-1, but you're gonna have to do some maintenance or take care of it, like you were saying. However,
and a lot of new builds, by the way, too, are usually going to be outside the city nowadays. Like you want something new and nice
in that price point.
Yeah, in your price point. People our age, a lot of times, if you want to own a home, you're going to have to buy something that's been around since the 50s or 60s. Learn how to fix it up. Our great grandparents,
things like that.
Our grandparents and parents were lucky enough they could have bought something that was brand new because it was just development, which was great, and they could have bought because everything was new back then. Now we're stuck with buying those, and now they're 60, 70 years old. We get to fix them up now, and now it's more costly to do that. But if you do want new, you can go 20 miles outside the city and get you something.
Exactly. And it's one of those things, friend, where hang on, I'm sorry, give me 1 second, guys, I gotta pause.
No problem. Yeah, so we were talking about everybody owning.
Yeah, absolutely. So no, there's no managers, man. So when you buy your house, especially where we're out in Florida and things like that, it's not as nice, and you can, a lot of, especially like people in our generation, don't feel as like comfortable or happy with it. So they're more than happy just throwing their money away and renting, making a little bit of sacrifices on some amenities.
But they're also complaining. Well, the rent keeps going up. Like, yeah, dude, that's if that's what you want. If you don't want the rent to go up, go get yourself a fixed mortgage. If you don't want the fixed mortgage, this is the cost of the renting. And everyone complains about the rent going up. I feel like rent's always gone up since the dawn of time. No matter what, rent's always gone up. Like when someone complains about rent going up, be like, yeah, and grass is green. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, what? Sky's blue.
Absolutely,
that's a common thing. And I feel like, well, also too, a lot of people I think have, like back in the day, I feel like a lot of generations had to learn responsibility pretty early, but now a lot of our generation has been coddled a little longer than most. So now they're getting slapped in the face by responsibility and being slapped in the face by responsibility later in life than normal, 30 years old, 34, 40, even for some people. And now and their place to go to is to vent on their phone to social media and create videos and complain instead of like, hey man, if you would have not taken that 10 minutes to make that video and actually kind of Googled how to make another stream of income, probably would have done a lot better idea than this.
It does feel weird though that the middle class has gotten squeezed. So I mean, inflation in general is just the hard one.
Yeah.
Like the housing market, when we bought our homes, that was the weird feeling where since I've been an adult, I don't know that I've ever felt super confident in the market because of the news cycles. Like what the news is just so good. If things are going great, it could crash any second, right? And we have a little bit of a correction and they're like, how long is it going to be here? Nobody can afford anything.
Yeah, when things are going smooth, it doesn't seem to last very long. Things are going good for like a week, and then all of a sudden it's months of turmoil.
I mean, we were a little insulated from it, but COVID felt honestly pretty fucking amazing. Like coming out of COVID, that I would say like a year from the shutdown, things felt really good. You know, when you could actually travel and, you know, meet someone face to face, like that was a booming time for me. Now, granted, I know that probably wasn't the case for a lot of business owners that had to shutter their doors because of people coming through or whatever, but like the middle class did feel like a little bit of a rebound. It felt like there was a nervous system reset for America at least. But now it just feels like there's just so much squeeze from every angle. I think it's just a lot of worry. I think a lot of people are just worried in general. And I mean, yeah, some of the grocery prices have gone up. Some of the tariffs have affected, you know, some businesses and stuff, but it just feels tense. Just feels really fucking tense.
Well, you're also starting to see, I think, a lot of the businesses were affected, but you're also starting to see some businesses bring costs down and other businesses are still keeping their costs up, trying to use that as an excuse. I've definitely seen, like Walmart, I get they're a bigger company, but Walmart's pricing, I've got to hand it to them. They've been pretty solid on trying to drive costs back down as much as possible comparatively.
Because they're cutting on expenses. Remember, I was telling you about big companies cutting on expenses earlier.
They're cutting on expenses, but I've also seen them too, where they took a lot of the cashier type of jobs. Like, yeah, they put in a lot of self-checkout, but then they moved those jobs around to different parts. Like now they have delivery. Like they took the people from the cashier and put them in car delivery services, or took them into the bring it to your car service, like where you can order ahead and then just bring it in the car. So they just shifted people around to more money driven.
And again, because that's on like a more corporate level.
Sure.
I know firsthand that they got rid of a ton of people, and that's one of those companies that I was telling you that was either moved to the headquarters or take a severance. That was the biggest one.
Yeah, but I see that on the corporate level. I understand that, right? Not at the store level. At the corporate level, if that's their way. I think a ton of financial companies did that from New York for a ton of people that moved to Miami, right? And that was their way of just cut it out. And then all the tech companies did it too. They did the same thing when all these tech people moved out and then came back. I mean, you're probably seeing it, right, in the real estate. We're seeing it in Tampa where all these tech people moved here and now they're being clawed back to their headquarters.
No, the tech companies were actually in Tampa a lot.
Some of them moved here, but some of them are still out there on the West Coast for sure.
I know there was a lot of companies that moved to Austin, like the housing prices in Austin went way up. And then they started actually migrating back to California because Austin was supposed to be kind of like the next Silicon Valley. But you still have like Samsung down from the house that I purchased. They have a massive swath of land that they're still building like a giant chip factory or something like that.
Well, it's just that we have these national developers, right? So when the California, let's say, or New York, where they're doing all this development or controlling the markets there for rent, and then all of a sudden everyone moves away, these companies are so big. Okay, I'm just going to go to Austin and now can control that market the same way. Oh, great. I just ruined it for everyone here again. Now they're all going to go back. Great. Now I got a win-win situation.
You're paying state income tax here in Colorado, though? What the fuck is that about?
The great part is when they moved to Florida and then they're like, how come they can deal with it without dealing with all that here? But when I go back, I still got to deal with problems the state should be taking care of.
I was talking about that the other day at my gym. I was like, my whole life I've never dealt with state income tax, only at the federal level, right? Like sure, sales and sales tax, whatever, a little bit higher, property tax, etc. But here's what I don't get. Florida makes sense. Giant tourism industry. Like you have a main industry that drives all other industries, right? You have the coast and you have tourism in the mouse. Totally get it. Texas, oil. Totally get it. A lot of subsidiary industries that feed off of the oil industry at large. How the fuck can Tennessee get away with no state income tax? What do they got going on?
Dolly Parton.
Dolly World? Like,
yeah. Dolly Parton, Gatlinburg. I don't care.
I mean, is that driving the whole state though?
Gatlinburg is everybody. That's every couple's first major trip.
Man.
But every state has a big city. I'm just like, what are they?
They got a bunch of landfills too. Maybe they're just.
I'm like, if Tennessee can get away with it, how can Colorado not?
How can Colorado not get away with it when you have the weed? I mean, come on, like
There's so many other things. I mean, if you
that should
put,
be take
in my
care of
opinion,
most
put
of it.
Colorado and Tennessee next to each other, I'm going Colorado all day. I mean, obviously I moved here, but I'm like,
Well, the national parks, everyone. I mean, the Rocky Mountains. That's the
Denver.
one of the biggest national parks. Denver.
Yeah.
How can you not have? Why would
they
you
got
have
a fucking
anything
ton of
wrong
oil
with
out here. I didn't know Colorado had a bunch of oil. I never
I mean,
knew that.
unfortunately, someone's got to pay your politicians. You know, got to keep them happy.
Yeah, right
They
here.
gotta make
This
money
guy.
somehow.
You, it's right. It's you and your team,
Right, I got
dude. It's pretty amazing the difference too when you go from Denver to Colorado Springs, like just in cost and type of people out there too. But
Oh,
yeah, just like I don't know. I noticed we noticed that difference when we were there, hotel costs and everything, and then like weed costs. It was just a lot different. But Colton had to hop
yeah.
off. I don't know. I actually got to hop off here too. I didn't know if there was anything else you want to cover, buddy.
No, man, no, it was just chat, and I appreciate you having me on and everything, man. It's been fun.
Of course, buddy. Thanks for coming on, man. I know we were kind of hopping off, so that
I know,
you got a lot
yeah.
of cut in a few times, so that's all right. But we'll have you
Yeah.
back on again, buddy. And looking forward to talking to you again soon and keep crushing it out there in Tampa.
Absolutely, bro. Well, thank you, man. I'll chat with you soon.
All right. Later, everybody. Peace.
Later.